Hello and welcome to another episode of Love Aptitude Tests. If this is your first time joining my channel, watching this series, make sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Let me get to it. The opposition to reparations for foundational Black Americans. FBA. For many white people and non-Black Americans is rooted in a mix of historical denial, economic self-interest, racial bias, and misinformation. For many Americans, especially white or non-Black immigrants, distance themselves from the legacy of slavery by saying things like, "My family didn't own slaves," or "That was a long time ago." This perspective ignores the fact that the entire U.S. economy, banks, universities, federal policies, was built on slavery and Jim Crow, and the effects are still felt today. Let's go deeper. Superficial understanding of history. Many Americans learn a sanitized version of slavery, Civil War, and Reconstruction. Textbooks often frame slavery as a Southern issue, detached from the present, and rarely delve into the systemic policies that persisted after emancipation. Black codes, redlining, convict leasing, GI Bill exclusion, and mass incarceration. There's a generational disconnection. Many white and non-Black Americans often say, "That was hundreds of years ago," ignoring the reality that many Black elders alive today lived under Jim Crow and were directly harmed by segregationist laws. More so, systemic disadvantages is not just historical, it's ongoing. Whether through wealth disparities, school funding, health care, or policing. Many non-Black immigrants often believe they came here with nothing and made it, assuming a level playing field existed. This erases how they benefited from a society already built on the economic exploitation of Black Americans. While FBA were actively locked out of wealth building opportunities for generations. Many people believe that reparations mean taken from them to give to someone else. This type of framework ignores how the U.S. government can allocate resources for military spending, corporate bailouts, and tax breaks for the wealthy, but suddenly finds reparations unaffordable. The "I didn't do it" fallacy, which is a common argument. My family didn't own slaves. But reparations are not about individual guilt. They're about government responsibility. The U.S. federal and state governments sanctioned slavery, segregation, and discriminatory laws. Foundational Black Americans are asking the state, not individuals, to be accountable. Reparations could help repair deep economic wounds, which would ultimately benefit the entire country. But oppositions often can't see that far. They only see a direct cash payout to Black people and assume that they're losing something. Deep-rooted anti-Black stereotypes exist. There's centuries-old belief that Black people are lazy, irresponsible, or prone to criminality. These racist myths are constantly reinforced by media, politics, and education. So when reparations are discussed, some people react with anger or disgust, assuming the money will be wasted. The FBA claim is unapologetically lineage-based. It distinguishes the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery from Black immigrants. This specifically triggers discomfort, even from other marginalized groups, because it centers foundational Black Americans suffering in a country that usually flattens Black identity to avoid dealing with responsibility. Some non-Black people, particularly white Americans, may feel that they're losing status if Black Americans are publicly and materially acknowledged as victims of state-sanctioned violence. Reparations threaten the false idea of merit and expose the myth of fairness in American history. Misinformation and deflection. What about as a political tactic? Opponents often use whataboutisms to deflect from the specific claims of FBA. They might say, what about Native Americans? What about poor white people? What about Latinos? What about Black immigrants? These questions aren't always asked in good faith. They're rhetorical tools meant to muddy the conversation, derail accountability, and shift focus away from the unique claim of foundational Black Americans. While all marginalized groups have legitimate struggles, FBA reparations are about a specific crime, chattel slavery, and its state-sponsored aftermath. Some people equate poverty with racial injustice. They'll argue that since all poor people suffer, reparations should go to everyone in need, not just FBA. But reparations aren't about poverty. They're about harm, theft, and denial of generational wealth through policy. A poor white family was never locked out of the Homestead Act, GI bills, FHA loans, or Social Security like foundational Black Americans were. There seems to be deliberate miseducation on the matter. There's also a lack of honest education about how the government already paid reparations, whether it be to Japanese Americans after internment, to Holocaust survivors, and even to white enslavers after emancipation. Many Americans don't know these precedents because it undermines the narrative that it's impossible or unfair to pay foundational Black Americans. Mainstream media rarely platforms experts on foundational Black American reparations. Instead, it features polarizing debates, reduces the issue to free money, or simply ignores it. This creates an uninformed public and strengthens political cowardice. Elected officials fear discussing reparations because they think voters won't support it. Undermining FBA identity. Foundational Black Americans are making a lineage-based specific claim that they are owed a debt, owed reparations due to direct ancestry from American slavery. This challenges the dominant racial narrative that all Black people in the U.S. share the same history or are affected the same way. That makes some people uncomfortable, even within the Black diaspora. Some Black immigrants and their descendants who arrived after 1965 may resist the idea that they are not entitled to reparations, even though their families were not enslaved in the U.S. or subjected to Jim Crow. While Pan-African unity is valuable, it's sometimes used to flatten distinctions and avoid hard conversations about who actually endured the specific trauma tied to U.S. policies. In recent years, liberal politicians have rebranded reparations as universal programs that help everyone, like free college or housing assistance. These ideas may be helpful, but they're not reparations. This co-optation weakens the original claim by removing its specifics, moral clarity, and justice-based framework. There's a fear of empowered Black identity. The FBA movement asserts pride in survival, resistance, and cultural creation in the face of systemic oppression. That self-definition, rooted in specifics, justice, and legal precedent, disrupts the racial order. If FBA succeed in forcing America to confront its crimes and pay the debt, it sets a precedent of real accountability, which many in power fear. If you like this video, make sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Check out the other videos in this series, I Love Aptitude Tests. Peace and stay blessed.